So we're talking about Muay Thai is fantastic. I always say, you know, people say, oh, I got an 18-year-old and, you know, I need him to do something. I'm like, Muay Thai is a great place to start because you're learning to punch, you're learning to throw hard elbows, knee shots, really hard kicks. That's why MMA guys prefer it over, most of them do, I would say, from what I see, prefer that over almost any other kind of kickboxing style because it's been around forever, it's highly effective. But here's where it falls apart. Same problem with boxing. As highly effective as Muay Thai is, it still is trained as a sport. Now, I'm sure there's Muay Thai guys outside of there that are doing other things, but I'm talking about in general, trained as a sport, just like MMA is. MMA is great. There's plenty of stuff in MMA that certainly can work on the street. But here's the problem. In general, we're back to the same problem we have with everything. What you train is what you do. If you always train dealing with only one guy, what happens when a couple of buddies are hiding because they're setting you up, which is what a lot of street punks do. They set you up, they work in groups. You're not trained for that. Unless you're doing extra training out, that's not what you're training in there. You're training for the sport fight. Well, I know a lot of arrogant guys. I had one come in and sort of test me a few years ago at the old dojo who found out real quick that, whoops, I'm not training for what you're talking about. Because I pulled the knife out, I let him take me down. I told you guys about this. What he wasn't watching is that I pulled my knife out and I just let him take me down and the knife came up and when he fell on me, he didn't even see it. I put the knife point in his kidney and he's like, what's that? I go, you're dead, motherfucker. I set you up. I let your dumb cocky ass take me down. Now you're dead. You got a knife buried in your kidney. Your fucking MMA didn't work for that. Not putting MMA down, but you ain't training for what I'm talking about. You could, and then you'd be very well-rounded. So we're back to this again, right? So not a put-down of these sports. They're tremendous. Boxing's fantastic. Muay Thai's fantastic. MMA's fantastic. But most of the guys I know in those, although you see some on YouTube that do go outside of that, because they know they need to have this higher, different kind of awareness for the buddies that are in the background that you don't see, ready to jump your ass, and fucking weapons come into the stage, especially knives, especially easily concealable guns. They don't train for that, see? So, along those lines, we have to talk about kind of the biomechanics and the timing of things, right? So, one of the things I don't like from a street perspective in Muay Thai, Gary, if you would just give me a arm down. You don't have to do all that, just, yeah. That foot jab, bam, it's fantastic, isn't it, right? You guys, come here. We've talked about this before. Danny, you're over here. If now the buddies are coming up on me, though, just that extra time it takes, yeah, lean back to throw that foot jab, and what are they going to do when right? Because it's harder for me, even if I throw it fast, I'm going to barely touch you, but I'm going to throw it faster, and when you see the lean, right? So, you know, it's just anything that is harder to recover from. Same thing, Thai round kicks are devastating. We did a bunch of them, right, over the last month. You know, you can blast a guy so hard with that, but look at my mechanics. Now, just even the countering motions with the arms, the swinging, and these guys, you know, I mean, this is a lot of motion. Even if I do it fast, there's two other guys. What happens is I'm leaning back and all this is happening, you know. It's just, I'm not training for that. If I just train straight Muay Thai, I'm not training for how do I deal with this? How do I recover? Because I'm worried about, I can do this kind of thing, boom, boom, push, come in and blast you. But if I got guys up my ass, that's hard to recover from very fast, right? And then I got guys crushing in on me. Whereas instead, you know, if my kick, you know, comes out and I just use it to gain distance and get behind you, I didn't compromise my structure. I didn't break my balance by leaning all over the place. I'm maintaining this neutral structure so that I can move. So that if I throw a kick and they come rushing in on me, I don't have to recover. I can start moving to get away from everybody. I'm not stuck in this leaning position. One-on-one, it's great, but if other people are around, then that's all in training. That's what I'm going to do. The pathways are there. I'm going to throw that leaning shot. I'm going to throw that big, long, extended knee shot, and I'm going to compromise my balance. My legs are in the air. Why do you think in most, say, look at Sistema, look at a lot of jiu-jitsu. I don't mean just BJJ, I mean full range jiu-jitsu that's designed for realistic combat. You don't see head high kicks, you don't usually see much in the way of round kicks because you have to commit so much body to those that you're compromising your balance and your footwork all the time, right? Because as we know, if I got 3 guys starting on me, you guys are all on me at the same time, I can do a lot here, right? I can do a lot with my legs at close quarters and knees and stuff, right? But if I'm getting caught this way and leaning and stuff, it's just not going to be good. And that's so it's not a put down of those arts. It's just a realistic point that there's a problem when you take things that are sports and you put them out here. So I just say to those guys, everything you're doing is cool, but you better add something to it. What are the limitations of it when you're not in the ring and you're just out there on the street? This is going to be the problem, right? And we're back to this again too, you know? What if all these guys, I mean, that's a bad scenario. What if even one of them just has a knife? I'm not training against a knife in Muay Thai. I'm not training against a knife in boxing. So those guys need to just adapt what they do, and they need to have a street version and try to solve problems like we're doing, right? I mean, my God, think about this, Gary. Yeah, I did this with Tom earlier a little bit, but Gary whips, he's the bad guy, he whips out a knife, and I'm sitting here, well, wait, don't do anything, no. But, you know, he's got it hidden, and I don't see it. And now I step in here, and I go, boom, and I throw that jab, then I go to throw that big round kick, and all of a sudden, I eat that right in the groin, yeah, just sliced my femoral artery on the inside of my knee. I wasn't thinking about that. Why? Because I don't train that in my regular sport training. So I'm not expecting it, right? Okay.